Hello, welcome back. I'm Carissa and this is Carissa's Garden, and today I'm going to be talking about my plans for the spring and for the entire growing season. If this is your first time, welcome. I am going to be a new flower farmer this year. We are going to section off a piece of our property and dedicate it to growing some cut flowers, hopefully to sell and to fill our home with lovely blooms for the whole season. So yeah, if you're new, like I said, I'm new to this. I'm a beginner. We are gardening in Zone 4B in South Central BC in Canada. So I thought my hope was just to take you along for the journey and show what I've been learning and what I've been planning and what I'm thinking, and in hopes just to document this exciting new garden that I'm going to be doing. So today I will be showing you my plans. A lot of it will be on paper, so I'll probably have to insert some pictures in right now. And yeah, we'll see what we have to do today. I also, a few weeks ago, I took some cuts from our fruit trees outside to force the blooms indoors, so I'll show you how those worked. They're beautiful. It's so nice to have some leaves and some flowers indoors right now. And like I said in that video, they were branches I was going to cut anyway when I was going to do my spring pruning. So yeah, and I'm happy I did it when I did, because it was a beautiful day when I was cutting out there in the yard, and it was maybe +2 Celsius, and right now it's -12. So yeah, it was good timing, because I don't really want to do that right now outside. It's very cold. We have the fireplace going. We have a wood fire upstairs, and it's wonderful, but yeah, I do not want to venture outside today. Yeah, so today, like I said, we'll be going over the plan. So we live on 5 acres in BC, and we have a very dry climate, so we will be adding irrigation. And the property we own used to be a horse pasture, or at least the area that we're converting this year was a horse pasture. So, you know, weeds and tall pasture grass and that type of thing is prevalent in the area. And it is a hill as well, so we plan to double dig to get rid of some of the weeds and just to get some of the fresh soil from underneath on top. And as we double dig, we will also terrace. It is a slight hill. Not too bad. I think, like, if I keep the pathway as a hill, it's fine to walk up and down, but just to get the beds irrigated evenly, I will be making those flat. So here's a picture. I'll insert it onto the screen, but here's a picture just of our lower property. The lower pasture, we call it, is just over 1 acre, and the area we are going to set aside for the cut flower garden is, I think this year we're going to start with about 20 to 30 feet wide and 82 feet deep type of thing. So I do have it on here. I'll put the picture in because you can't see it from here. But yeah, it doesn't take a huge portion of the property, and that is the nice and sunny area of our property, so that worked out well. I think we do have to remove a couple trees just to block some of, or that would block the afternoon sun. And then behind it, just directly behind, you'll see like a colorful square just above the cut flower garden will be a non-fenced area, and it will be more native or perennial or deer resistant bushes and flowers, herbaceous perennials, and for the pollinators as well. So I don't think I'm more excited about this, but I'm more excited about it in a different way, because there will be some kind of pathways meandering through, and it'll be more of an experience rather than the cut flower garden is going to be very structural with 4x8 beds and just, you know, straight, making sure that production is the most important concept that we're going to go for that area. But yeah, the perennial pollinator bed, or whatever I'm going to call it, garden, is going to be a bit more romantic and whimsical and probably more enjoyable to spend time in. But yeah, that will kind of evolve over time as I invest in different perennials, because they are more expensive, and see what works, because if you have deer pressure in your area, you will know that their taste buds change or whatever, how desperate they are. They sample different items, and yeah, their browse can change over the course of a year. So yeah, I think this will be an experiment, and it will kind of like develop over time, and it'll be enjoyable for me. Yeah, so those are the 2 items, and then in the lower section near our driveway, this is really exciting. I asked my dad, who's retired now, this is his first year off retired, and he offered to help me build a potting shed. So I think it'll have, as we replace the windows in our house is, I don't know, 40 years old, and the windows need to be replaced. So as we replace them, we're gonna kind of set them aside and use them for this potting shed. So that'll be nice. And I think I will try and do some seed starting in there as well, because right now you can see I'm in the basement, and I have a Home Depot shelf I'm looking at right here, one of the heavy duty wire racks, and it's fine. It'll probably start what I need this year, but looking into the future, a potting shed / greenhouse will be very nice to store different things. I don't think we'll heat it, so it'll be more of a season extender, I guess, is the more correct term to call it. Yeah, so those are the 3 kind of main things that we're going to be adding to this lower pasture. And so far, it looks like that's the plan. The cut flower garden will need a fence, a deer fence, around the whole perimeter, just to keep them out, because a lot of them are very tasty to the deer. So yeah, I think we talked about doing a 4-foot high fence, and then an 8-foot post, and the cables up top will just make sure that the deer aren't able to jump in. Yeah, so that is what's going on. That is the major major scope of the work, if you will, from the bird's eye view. And then kind of getting into the more detailed look of things, I'll put this up on the screen. So this is a rough preliminary plan of the cut flower garden. It's really, maybe not frustrating, maybe it'll help with my planning, but as soon as you get things on paper, it's just bound to change. As soon as your pen hits the paper and writes it out, you're like, oh, I don't know if that's gonna work. So take it with a grain of salt from a beginner gardener. This is bound to change. It's already changing in my mind. But it really does help to get it out and see, how much each plant is going to take up space, and what their different heights are. I've listed all of this out in my notebook right here, so that I can kind of gauge where to put everything and place them in the soil. So it is a hill, like I said, and the hill is east. The highest part of the hill is east. So the sun will block the items that are lower than them if they are a taller variety, if that makes sense. So I am going to do the shorter varieties at the beginning of the garden, with the back being the tallest variety, because that would be west facing, if that makes sense. Yeah, so here we go. I'll go through my list of what I'm growing, and this isn't even exactly all of what I'm growing. Like I said, it's just kind of a broad view, just to kind of get my mind around, is this going to be enough space? Do I have enough seeds? When do I start the seeds? How do I succession plant? How many succession plants can I fit in each bed in our growing season, right? So this is a start. And I can get easily discouraged just thinking about this already being outdated because of, one error I made. But anyway, it's helpful. I think it's helpful. Anyway, so from the varieties, maybe I'll add this to the screen too. It's hopefully helpful to you. It was really helpful to me. I just found a PDF of a woman had put together the seed starting schedule based on each zone. So it's an Excel spreadsheet, and you plug in your zone, your last frost date, when it's safe to plant, that type of thing. And then it goes through all the varieties, vegetables, flowers, all of that, of when to plant. And that was really helpful, because I don't like doing math. And if I can purchase something for a couple bucks and save myself a little bit of a headache, it's worth it. So anyway, based on her chart, I'll see if I can link it below, because it was a really handy Excel spreadsheet that she put up. So anyway, I worked my date back, or she worked the date back, and then looking at the seed packet, I kind of plugged in what variety needs to be started at what date, so I have a schedule of when to start seed sowing. And there are some check marks that already of what I've started, and maybe I'll show you some, because they've germinated. I'm really excited. A ton of them have come up, which is super, super exciting. Yeah, so from this list, I'm also going to be keeping track of the germination rate, so that for future years I can kind of say, you know, the seed packet says 80%, but really it was 60% or whatever. So I can kind of keep my own record about it. And then I'm also going to say when I transplanted it outside, when I pinched it, if I liked it. And you know what? Like I said before, as soon as you write something down, it's outdated and void. I should have done a row for succession plants, or when I will be sowing my succession plants as well. But I didn't do that, so maybe that'll be another sheet. Okay, and then the next side, I was thinking to myself about the heights. So like I said, the area closest to the driveway is where the sun direction comes from. That's where the direction of the sun comes from. So those need to be the shortest. So I worked out short, medium, tall, tall, and then super tall. That made sense in my head. So I'll just quickly go through it just in case it's helpful to you guys. Who knows? So my short varieties are Iceland poppies, Nigella, Love in a Mist, and Basil. I hope that's right. If you know something different, please tell me and warn me so I can do this right. I'd like to minimize my failures this year. I know I'll be having enough. Okay, medium short, I did California poppies, bee balm, Rudbeckia, lace flower, bells of Ireland, and amaranth. And then I also kind of kept track of the spacing, like how wide they get as well, because most of them are about 9-inch, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, and then my medium heights were stock marigold and China asters and celosia. Medium talls were zinnia, straw flower, bachelor button. And then tall was Cosmo pincushion, and then super tall is sunflower. Oh, I missed calendula. Calendula is a tall variety, so it would be with Cosmo and pincushion. And then the super tall, you know, sunflowers get like 8 feet high, so that would go at the very back. So that's one of the things I wrote down wrong when I did this sheet. I put yarrow at the very top because I thought, oh, it's a perennial, so it'll always be there, even though it might die back every year, so it might not necessarily block them. But anyway, sunflowers are even taller than that, so I think they need to go at the very back. And yarrow is deer resistant, so it might go in my little fun pollinator perennial meandering path, beautiful, whimsical garden at the back. So anyway, preliminary. Did I say that already? Okay, so after the heights, after I determined what height everything was, I kind of looked at what the average spread was, because I do know a lot of flower farmers squish them together. So if it says 6 inches apart, maybe force it to be less than 6, because then it does force them to grow up, so you get a straight stem and you do get more prolific blooms. So most of mine were wanting 9-inch spacing, and they did, and that's on the Floret package, and I'm pretty sure she's kind of, you know, putting this out there for most flower farmers. So I'm gonna go by her spacing, but when in doubt, if it was like 9 to 12, I would put it in the 9-inch spacing category. And then the 3 that I put aside for 12-inch was Cosmo, Strawflower, and Sunflower. Yeah, so they'll be about 12 inches apart. And then 18 inches apart is Amaranth. And I did grow this last year in my vegetable garden, and I don't think it did quite get to 18 inches, but I will. Maybe I'll switch it to 12 actually, now that I'm thinking about it. See what I mean? Things change. You just gotta be so adaptable. Okay, and then I made a cheat sheet for myself as well. I'll show you this. It's pretty simple math. I think you just kind of have to look at what square inch your bed has in total. So all of my beds, if you look here, they're all 4x8 rectangles. And if I'm looking for 6-inch spacing, that would equal 128 starts. Now I didn't find any seed varieties, flower varieties, or foliage varieties for that matter, that wanted 6-inch spacing, so I might not need to use that. But anyway, like I said, most of mine want 9-inch spacing between each plant, so that would equal 96 starts in each bed. So that really helped me, because I want to make sure that I'm starting enough and I'm going to succession plant enough, and that I'm buying enough seeds and all of that. So as much as I don't like math, it's definitely necessary in this way. And then for 12-inch spacing in an 8x4 bed, it's 64 starts. So yeah, that was helpful. And then just to calculate, so say I have 24 beds, which I think I do. In this paper drawing that I did, it shows 18 beds, which isn't actually accurate. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I think it's because I might have combined this bed and this bed, which the lower one is going to be roses. I bought some bare root roses. So that'll go there because they are not deer resistant, so they'll have to be in the cut flower garden. And then the top one, like I said, is probably going to be sunflowers. So anyway, the where we got the 24 bed idea to begin with was online. We found a supplier who's selling 8 by 9 inch wide, 8 foot long timbers that we're going to use to terrace the beds, and it comes in a 25 pack. So we're thinking 24 beds, one per bed, to just kind of hold the soil in place, not to go directly around the perimeter of each bed, just the one to hold the soil in, and that's all we're going to do. So anyway, that's why. So on average, if I space my plants, for the most part, because most of them do want this, 9-inch spacing, and then I have 24 beds, I need to have about 2,300 starts. So that's going to be really helpful as I go through this list to make sure I am planting what I need to get it in the ground, because once it's fenced and ready to go and the soil's ready and the last frost has passed, I don't want to be waiting on the seedlings that I haven't started yet. So yeah, it's going to be really helpful to have this all done up. Okay, so then the last thing I wanted to point out was here we have, I wrote an S when I was going to do a succession plant, because in my beginner brain I thought only a few varieties would need it. But the more I look it up, the more I'm realizing almost everything probably needs to get succession planted. So I'm going to keep researching that, and we can just ignore the little S mark, because I probably will end up succession planting most things, I think. And then I did find this chart, which might be handy. So this is from Sarah Funk, growflowers.org. And she offered a free chart printable to keep track of the succession planting that you need to do. Hers has quite a lot of columns, and I don't know if I will do that many. It probably depends on your growing season. Ours is not super long. Our growing season is May to October, maybe. So yeah, I don't know how many succession plantings I will do, but it looks like I'll do most things at least twice, the original planting and then one succession planting, I think. We'll see if that changes too. Yeah, and then also in her free PDF, she put a list of what she recommends for planting every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, or whatever, and what varieties. So that was helpful. Another thing I haven't really explored yet is the cool flower method, if you want to call it. So I know there are annual flowers that are cool weather hardy, and I think that's something I might try and pursue next year, because the brain can only hold so much growth per year. So yeah, the last thing on here, actually, I think I already said that. The last thing I wanted to talk about was just what I wanted to plant in that deer-resistant pollinator perennial garden that is going to go behind the cut flower garden with the meandering paths. So I would love to do forsythia and 9-bark and dogwood. Those are all bushes that grow very easily in our area. Within a few years, they'll probably be 8 feet high if you get, just a little 5-gallon pail. pale bush to start. So those would be beautiful foliage fillers and deer resistant. And then a bunch of other things, like I was saying, the yarrow, that can go there because it's deer resistant. Peonies and dahlias are deer resistant, at least in our area so far. Definitely some decorative grasses, that would be really nice to cut from. And mints, if I kind of can devote a small area that it just kind of takes over. Mountain mint especially, because it's a native mint that just grows beautifully, and it's a very easy plant to grow. So similar to that type of thing, bee balm, that type of thing that I can just kind of cut, not worry about it, and it's just there when I want it, and it's beautiful to kind of be around, and just to, fill my gardening tank a little bit more. But we will see. We will see how much I actually get through. It is end of February right now, and we can only start working the ground in late March, I would say. Otherwise the ground is frozen solid. So we'll see. We'll see how much I can get through. But I'm excited, and excitement goes very far indeed. So that's it for my plans. If I missed anything, I'll pop on right now and kind of show you on my computer screen what everything looks like and what else I can explain in a better way. But I will take you upstairs to show you what my forced fruit tree blooms look like. They're so nice to have. If you do have fruit trees, I challenge you to do that yourself, because it took 2 or 3 weeks and they're all blooming beautifully, and yeah, it's really nice to see. And then I'll show you my seed starts, and that'll be it for the day. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.